Hello and welcome to episode number 10 of the English to Takeaway podcast. My name is Jordan. You may have seen me on Instagram, Facebook, etc., through my social media of English Lingo or English Lingo with Jordan. I'm an English teacher and uh, education content creator, and I have my wonderful co host with me, Richard.
Oh, thanks, Jordan. So I'm Richard, also known as the Grammar Goat on social media. And as Jordan said, we're both English teachers, content creators, and proud hosts of the podcast.
Indeed, and it's a special one because we have reached double digits.
What a milestone. It's excellent, actually. I'm very proud of that. Very, very good. 10
Absolutely.
episodes. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've had some funny, really funny episodes so far. Probably the one that stands out the most is probably the very first episode with you going to the airport to pick up the chickens.
yes. That's definitely one of the highlight ones. I would also say that the one where we were doing the role play where I was the teacher and I had to talk with a parent about their failing student at school. I thought that was pretty funny as well. But yeah, we've had some brilliant conversations, like the fly landing on my head that sparked a 10-minute conversation about bugs and creepy coralies.
Yeah, the earthquake episode as well was very, very interesting, talking about Japan and earthquakes. Who knows what we're going to talk about today? We
Absolutely.
certainly.
Yes.
Um,
We are loosely prepared.
yeah, speaking off the cuff, as we like
Yes.
to say in
There we
in
go.
English.
And would you like to mention about the structure of the podcast?
Yeah, sure. So, as always, we start off with a chit chat about what we have been up to. We talk about a news story, something that's caught our eye in the news this week. We do a role play. We try to associate the role play with one of the news stories. And then, really importantly, at the end, we'll give you some English language to take away 10 items, whether it be vocabulary, idioms, phrasal verbs. We'll give you things to take away to use in your English language life.
Absolutely. Awesome. So, as always, what have you been up to this week? Anything interesting of note that you've done this week?
Yeah, not a great deal, to be honest with you. I mean, in the UK, as soon as we enter December, as soon as December the 1st comes around, everything goes into Christmas mode. So I've quite enjoyed this week, looking at all the Christmas decorations out and looking at all the lights. I mean, some of the houses and streets near where I live, they look like Las Vegas, to be honest with you, with all the lights and Father Christmases and holograms and yeah, incredible stuff. Is there
Awesome.
much of that in your neighborhood in the Philippines, Jordan, in terms of Christmas decorations?
Yes, yeah, like people do like to put up their decorations, of course. And the one thing that's very interesting is that they often keep them up for the whole year because they don't take them down. so, so yeah, it's that is definitely part of the Philippines. And the strangest thing for me is when it hits September here, the shopping centers, the petrol stations, a lot of like establishments started putting up Christmas trees, lights, and everything, and that was the beginning of September.
Honestly, that I'm surprised at that. I thought England was or the UK was a little bit early with Christmas decorations. September, that's incredible.
Yeah. So I would say that I'm getting to the point that I'm kind of Christmased out already. Like
Yeah.
I've seen loads of lights and things like that. So yeah, it's it's crazy. Too early for me. September is far too early.
Do you decorate your house, like the outside of the house and the inside of the house for Christmas?
We will decorate the inside. So we're going to go and actually get a Christmas tree this week for us to decorate and things. As for the outside, because we were in Japan, we didn't really have any outside decorations. So, no, we don't have anything to put outside for the minute. Um, Probably in the future we will do. And yeah, my daughter's looking forward to putting up the Christmas tree. Yeah, she keeps badgering me to put it up. We had badgering in a few episodes ago, didn't we? Right, so
Nice. Well, that's very good because my kids, obviously being teenagers now, they are excited about putting up the Christmas tree, but then when it comes to actually doing the work, actually, putting the tree up, we have an artificial tree, so building the tree, then
yeah,
decorating the tree, they kind of quickly disappear off into their rooms, leaving me, their father, to do everything uh, on my own. So
yeah.
I think we should be doing that today, actually, putting all of our Christmas decorations up, which is
Nice,
great. I love
nice.
Christmas, and I
I think that's the feeling of like, okay, it's near, it's close. Like Christmas, like when you have your tree up and your lights and everything, you're like, oh, okay, this is Christmas time now.
no, exactly. And I'm sure we'll talk. We can talk about Christmas till the cows come home. I'm sure we'll talk about Christmas. Maybe next week or the week after. But I mean, in the Philippines, I'm quite interested. Are there any? I can see you're writing down till the cows come home. Am I right? I
Absolutely,
knew
I
it
love it. Yes,
when I
um,
said it. We
I
we go through that.
I think in the Philippines the the interesting sort of point of Christmas is that nothing closes. Everything is open. So Christmas Day, you can go to the shopping center. You can go pretty much most places, especially in, like, for example, in Manila. Pretty much everything's open. I'm not sure about around here if things are closed. Some things are closed, but I would doubt it because of the tourists. So yeah, I think that's one big change is that in England everything's closed apart from pubs, which are open for Christmas lunch. But everything else in England, you can't really go to any shops. You can't go to the supermarket or convenience stores. Everything's practically closed, isn't it?
No, true. Yeah, yeah. Is there anything about a UK Christmas that you miss? Are you able to get all of the sort of traditional English Christmas foods like mince pies and Christmas pudding? Are you able to get that in the Philippines?
No, mince pies. No, I want to. I'm if I can. I think I'm gonna try this year and make some mince pies. Just because I can't buy any. If I could buy them, I would. No, that I think those you know those types of sort of Christmas snacks, Christmas sweets, I think are very, yeah, very much missed. I would love to be able to have them, but no, we don't really see any of them around, and yeah, that's one of the things that I would say I do miss actually. Yeah.
I was asking because in the supermarkets here in the UK you have a world foods aisle, where
Okay.
you get food all different countries, all over the world. So I was just wondering if in the Philippines you might have a world foods aisle with baked beans and things essentially English that you can buy, but I guess not. I guess not.
Yeah, probably not. Like, I think the only possible place that might sell it is there's like this company that's selling like British items. So they sell British condiments, they sell British, probably as you mentioned, like baked beans and maybe some cakes and whatnot. But yeah, apart from them, I don't believe there is anything available, unfortunately. Yeah, I would love to. Mince pies would be at the top of my list if I could get them. Yeah, definitely.
I think I think they're quite easy to make, aren't they? Actually, you
Yeah.
just yeah, they're quite straightforward. I've never made them, but I'm guessing from years of experience eating them, I'm guessing they're not they're not too difficult to make. Hopefully for you. So yeah,
And
cool. Jordan, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and also it's a fun thing to do with kids as well. If I can find a decent like recipe with ingredients and that, it'll be great for Sophia to make them as well. So yeah, a fun thing indeed.
Absolutely. I was going to ask, have you been up to anything interesting this week?
Not actually anything that I've been up to. Like, I think it's just been a very normal week. But following on from last week's episode where we were talking about scams and things, I had a very interesting interaction. And what happened was I received an email asking me to be a guest on a podcast. And I was very, I was quite interested and happy. I checked out like the person's numbers and whatnot. I'm not going to mention the name just in case I don't want to be, sued or anything like that. Um, so I checked them out. I was like, wow, okay, the following's huge, and it seemed really interesting. But the first red flag for me was that the podcast was mostly on YouTube, but this was going to be a Facebook Live event. So that got me thinking, and the brain cogs turning a little bit. Um, but no problem. Let's see what happens. And then we agreed on a time and a date, and I thought, okay, that sounds good. And then the manager, so the so-called manager, uh, he wanted to ask me to join a Zoom call and just go over a couple of things. And okay, yeah, sure, no problem. And then that was the second red flag. That happened yesterday, actually, yesterday morning here. Um, go into the Zoom meeting. So jump on the computer, go into the Zoom meeting, and he's disabled video, right? So that's the second red flag. Is that why would you need to go on a Zoom call, but you've disabled the video for both of us? And then the third one is that he he was supposedly in America, um, but the accent didn't match to what I was expecting, of course. So that was another one. And then the funny thing was, the question came up: Are you on your computer now, Jordan? Like we can set up blah 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 blah. now, which is like it was to do with Facebook. Exactly what we talked about last week. uh, so I politely turned around and said, "No, I'm on my phone at the moment, but yeah, I can do it anyway, and whatever, and I'll let you know. I'll email it to you as soon as possible." And quickly quickly then got off the call and blocked like that email address completely. I don't want anything to do with it. Um, so I don't know what the idea of the kind of scam was, whether they wanted to get access to my Facebook account. Yeah, it was weird. Very, very weird.
Wow, that is quite ironic, isn't it? Seeing we did exactly the same role play last week, and you were the scammer, weren't
I
you,
was the
last week?
scammer.
Oh man, yeah, quite a few red flags. So I've also nearly been caught with the podcast email from a few different podcasts, but like yeah, the first time I got one, I didn't get as far as to arrange a meeting, but I actually thought it was legit,
Mm,
and then luckily I realised it wasn't, and yeah, subsequently I've received lots of podcast invitation emails. I think it's quite a common scam, isn't it, nowadays? But you're
yeah,
right. What they want to get, I guess they wanted to get into your Facebook, didn't they?
I think because you've got to, I think you maybe have to connect something, um, and perhaps that's the way they get your data. They get it. They get access to your account. I honestly, I don't know. I got no idea. Do they want to lock me out of my as I locked you out of your computer last week in my scam?
Yeah.
Like, do they want to lock me out of my account and then basically blackmail me into paying them to give me access again? I don't know. I have no idea. So yeah, thankfully nothing came of it, and yeah, I kind of woke up and realized, okay, yeah, this is not legit. This is weird.
Yeah, well, luckily that you did actually, because that would have been, well, it would have been an even better story for the podcast, to be honest with you, scammed. Um, but for you personally, it would not have been good. Yeah.
No,
Well,
I would have been very irate in that situation.
yeah, I
Yeah,
bet, I bet.
definitely. So, but yeah, it's one of those things. At least, yeah, at least nothing untoward happened. It was totally okay in the end, which is good. But yeah, what's your news story for this week?
Yeah. So if I said to you, Jordan, fancy a cuppa,
Yes.
what would I be asking? Because possibly if if someone's learning English and they've never been to the UK, they might not have ever heard this expression, fancy a cuppa.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. It means, would you like a cup of tea?
exactly, and like I love drinking tea. My parents, I know, drink loads and loads of cups of tea. They fit, they fit the stereotype, of British people who stop everything, put everything down at 5 o'clock, and have a cup of tea. My grandparents, going back even further, they used to drink maybe like a cup of tea on the hour
Yeah,
almost. We're talking about black tea with milk, of course. But
absolutely.
times are changing, and it was interesting to see in the news this week that a huge tea company
Mm,
based in the UK have pretty much gone bust because people aren't buying tea anymore.
wow.
They swapped the quintessentially British black tea with healthier drinks, green tea, herbal teas, fruit teas, and coffee as well. Because
Mm,
coffee now, like instant coffee and coffee pods that you can use in
yeah.
quite cheap coffee machines you can buy. They're everywhere, and so yeah, people aren't drinking tea anymore. I thought for me that was quite interesting. And as you being a Brit abroad, I mean, are you quite particular about your tea? Do you only drink a particular type of tea, or have you moved away from drinking tea since living abroad?
I think like when when my mum comes to visit, and she usually brings tea with her because she loves a cup of tea. And so she brings some tea with her because as a lot of people know, like if you do go abroad, the tea is not the same as it is in the UK. It's quite similar, but it's not. There's a slight difference to it, and she likes the one that she gets in England. So that's really like for me. That's nice. I do enjoy a cup of tea as well when she comes over, but apart from that, I don't really worry about drinking tea so much. The only tea that I do drink is usually ginger tea because it's great for inflammation. It's great for basically fighting off any colds or illnesses that you might have, or like basically protecting you from any viruses around you. So I drink a lot of ginger tea nowadays. That's the one that I would say is for me part of my life, and I wouldn't I wouldn't class British tea now as something that I drink.
Interesting, because British tea, of course, is tea with milk, and many people who have never had tea with milk, they would think that was disgusting. They'd think it would sound disgusting, tea
Yes,
with milk. But I mean, we in Britain we love tea with milk, and
absolutely.
also
Yeah.
quite a controversial topic, Jordan. Do you put the milk in before you put the boiling water in, or do you put the boiling water in and then add the milk afterwards? This is a hot topic, or used to be certainly. Where do you stand on that?
Excuse the pun of hot topic and hot drinks, right? Uh, um, I honestly, I must apologize now if I'm gonna offend anybody, but I I I really think that people who put the milk in first before like the hot water are crazy. I just I don't I don't know how it's possible to do that because you want to measure the strength of your tea as you're putting the milk in. Like somebody says, I want it a little bit more milky, then okay, you can measure the strength of the tea by looking at the coloration of it. So I always put the milk in last. That's my one. Yes.
See, I'm the other way around. I'm one of those people. Yeah, I know. Look
You're
at
one of
this
the
goss,
you're one of the
horror.
crazies.
Yeah, one of the nutters. Yeah, it's efficiency for me, right? So boil the kettle. As the kettle's boiling, I'll go and get the milk. I know exactly how much milk to put in. Put the milk in and then add the boiling water. So
Right. Wow.
yeah, here we. Yeah,
Wow.
interesting. These are
Yeah.
the only things that These are such British conversation topics. But
But
yeah, I thought it was interesting in the news anyway.
people have full blown arguments about that though. Like I've seen so many people like have full on like proper arguments over what the steps should be. To be honest with you, I don't really care that much. But personally, that's what I do. Like I put it in at the end. But yeah, it's yeah, it's amazing how that one particular sort of point is and sort of a spark for arguments among family members or friends or whatever.
And it's really funny to hear about your mum as well, taking tea with her abroad, because my mum does exactly the same. It's probably the first thing that my mum puts in her suitcase is
Yeah.
lots of tea to take with her, because the tea won't taste the same.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's something that I think you know, a lot of British people who love tea, I would imagine that's probably what they do. So yeah, it's interesting to hear that. Another interesting point though is my dad's a builder, so um he, like, whenever he's working, he drinks loads of tea, and I've worked with him before, and we have 3 or 4 cups of tea a day. Usually, the customer will bring out some tea, or we have a flask of tea and things like that. So I grew up in that environment, drinking a lot of tea. But yeah, now I think it's not something that I'm focused on. I don't wake up and think I really want a tea. That's an interesting one. A lot of people are going to say that, oh, you can't say I want a tea, like it's not accountable. Now, I understand that, but we often ask because we usually infer that we mean a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. So a lot of the time, if you're with friends, you might say, oh, do you want a coffee? Do you want a tea? Because we can infer that they mean a cup of tea, a cup of coffee. So that's an interesting sort of natural language differentiation that we have, of course. So, but yeah, interesting, very very interesting. That's cool. My
Cool.
my news
Go for it.
story for today is about the UK, and it's about something that is coming to the UK. Um, if I asked you what is the national sport of Japan, what would you think? What would your answer be?
I would say sumo, probably, or
Bingo.
baseball.
Baseball. You're very. Baseball's the most popular.
Yep.
Um, Sumo is the national, and yes, you're spot on with that one. Sumo wrestling is coming, or will be, I should say, will be going to um, the Royal Albert Hall.
Wow.
Yeah,
It's
I think it's in this month.
amazing.
So it says here, London's famous concert venue, the Royal Albert Hall, is preparing to host a different kind of show, sumo wrestling. Um, and it says here that on December 4th, wrestlers Daisuke Kitanowaka and Akira Fukunosimi demonstrated a sideways stamp for photographers and put on a wrestling exhibition to promote a tournament. This is really, really key because they're going to hold a proper tournament next October in London. And that's amazing. Like, that is phenomenal, to be honest. Um, yeah, so if you're interested in sumo, you can go and watch it in London.
Oh, when you were in Japan, did you ever go to a sumo? Um, what would you call it? Is it a sumo match or sumo bout? What's the noun that goes with it?
I would have to say sumo tournament.
A tournament. Okay. Did you ever, or did you go and watch a live sumo? tournament when you were in Japan?
Unfortunately, not. And the reason for that is because it's so popular. It's really, really popular. The the tickets are like gold dust sometimes. You you try to get the tickets, but you just can't get them. And they sell out very quickly, and you can go there to like the box office and see if they have any like on the day tickets available. But no, I wasn't able to, unfortunately. But yeah, I would love to. I think it's definitely a unique experience, I would imagine. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'll have to look into that definitely, and try and go along. But I'd imagine if it's so popular in Japan, I'd imagine that the tickets here will be like gold dust as well. Probably they'll be the hottest
Yeah,
tickets in town, won't they? They'll be snapped up immediately, probably.
absolutely. Yeah. I think it's good though, from like from my point of view, having this kind of event outside of Japan, it is really, really cool. It's perfect, and it kind of fits in with what England is trying to do, actually, because when I say we, as if I'm living there, but I'm not. Like England's trying to be a little bit more expansive in the sports that are offered. So, am I correct in saying that there are some American football matches now hosted in London?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I love American football. I'm a big fan, and yeah, there are lots and lots now of NFL matches in London. I've
Right.
never been to one, but again, I would love to. I'd love to go to one. But yes, so you do get a lot of American football now,
Yeah.
um, and
Cool.
such an exciting sport as well to watch American football.
I
I'd
think
love to go to a
I, I'm
game.
not.
So,
I'm not sure. I think um, maybe baseball is another one that I think I heard was trying to break into um, the UK market as well. So you've got a lot of different sports that are coming over to the UK. Sumo being the next one next year. So I think it kind of fits into what London is trying to do in that sense of offering a lot of variety of different sports actually. So it seems really cool.
yeah, very very cool. Yeah, I'd love to go to that. Yeah, they're incredible athletes as well, aren't they? Sumo wrestlers,
Yes,
um,
yes,
and really, I don't know all of the rules, but it's obviously a really, really exciting sport to watch. I mean, the fact that it's the national sport and is so popular, it must be at a live event. It must be so exciting. Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
absolutely, and also like the one or the the, the fun part of sumo is that if I'm getting this right, I think I'm getting this right. Someone can fact check me if they want. um, I believe that they all have to fight each other. Um, so there's no skipping an opponent. If you've got like 15 opponents, you're gonna have to fight each one of those opponents, and the matches are each day. So you have like one match every single day.
Wow.
Yeah. Um,
Oh,
so yeah, it's I think it's quite an intensive, you know, couple of weeks that they have because they've got to be in tip top condition and form for that duration, that period of time, every day for 2 weeks. So, yeah, it's definitely an interesting one indeed.
Then what a great story! I'm gonna do some research about that later, and yeah, find out exactly where and when the sumo tournament is in London. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Right.
Awesome.
I guess it's time to segue into our role play.
That's right.
And I think this week we are gonna do like a salesy type of role play, aren't we? Around because we were talking about tea and hot drinks, coffee as well.
Yes.
Um, so should we explain what we're going to do? I'm going to be a leading drinks company.
Maybe like a yeah, like a distributor. Yeah, uh, you're like the distributor of or you could be one of the supermarkets, for example. You could be a buyer for one of the supermarkets, and I'm the salesperson for for the distributor.
Perfect. So I'll be a maybe I'll be like a Waitrose, like a top of the
Oh,
line high end supermarket. Yeah, that
absolutely.
only buys the best.
Yes.
And so, who are you then, Jordan? What's your role? You're the
I am
seller.
going to be the salesperson for the distributing company, and our product is incredible. It's basically called um, Civet Coffee, or in some other countries, it's called Kopi Lawak or Luwak, Kopi Luwak. Um, and I think there are some other names for it. Civet is a cat, um, and just a backstory. I will, of course, explain it in more salesy way soon. But the cat eats the coffee beans and then digests them, and once it comes out, uh, that is the product basically, because they have digested the coffee bean, and you're then able to make it into uh, delicious coffee. I don't know because I've never had it. But yes, that's basically who I am representing. Yes.
Cool. All right. Should we go for it? Should we start?
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Richard, thank you very much for joining me today. So I've got this fantastic new product for you that I think you will love, and your customers, being the high end people that they are going to absolutely enjoy. It is a top of the range coffee that comes from Asia. Um, so yeah, I would love for your stores to stock our product. I think it fits right into your demographics.
So, our philosophy is very much on sustainability and organic products as well. Is the coffee? Does it come from a sustainable source?
Absolutely, 100%. It is incredibly sustainable, and the coffee is absolutely organic. We do not use any preservatives. We do not use any herbicide, pesticides, anything like that at all. So even our packaging is plastic free. We're very conscious about how we can benefit the world and protect the environment. So yeah, even our packaging is definitely safe.
Talk to me about the manufacturing process, then, please, Jordan.
What we have is we have these wild cats called civets in Asia,
Did you
and
did you say cats?
yes, cats, yes, cats, civets. Um,
Interesting.
they are really really quite interesting animals actually, and they love the coffee beans, especially in the place called Mindanao, which is in the southern area of the Philippines. Um, these cats are, quite in abundance. There's quite a lot of them, and they eat the coffee beans, and they digest the coffee beans, of course, um, and when they produce their waste, um, we can then collect it, and of course, we then produce it, and make it into the coffee that we sell.
So are you telling me that the coffee is the cat poop, basically?
Yes, in a roundabout way. Yes, that's correct. Yes.
We might have a problem selling that to our customers. How are you planning on branding this and packaging it?
Well, I think the best way to do it is, we can we can basically put it as a tribal coffee, because it is from the ethnic group, the Blaan. Um, so they are the ones who um, found this production of coffee, and they're happy for us to produce it with them, because it allows them to, of course, sustain their living and to support their community. And yeah, I would like to brand it as an ethnic tribal coffee, because they are the ones who founded this process.
Talk to me about the taste. How does it taste?
It's quite an earthy taste. Yes. So yeah, it's very. I would say it's it's not too bitter. I think there are some coffee beans which are extremely bitter. This one is not so much, but it's got a lot of, a lot of, I would say, different components to it. So the civet has a lot of nutrients from what they eat through vegetation and other small animals. So that comes through into the coffee taste as well. That's why it has a little bit of an earthy taste, but still very much a premium quality coffee.
Well, I'll be honest with you. It sounds absolutely fantastic. I think we're gonna obviously have to talk numbers and talk prices and find a baseline in terms of how much we'll make on our initial order. But I love it. I think it ties in perfectly with our sustainability goals, and it's right on brand with our other high-end organic coffee. So thanks so much, Jordan.
No problem. And the last thing that I wanted to highlight, which I think will,
Sure.
really open your eyes to the possibility of, the profit that you can make, is, you can sell some of this upwards of $80 a cup. So the the margins are there, and I think that, yes, if you are interested, then we can definitely have a meeting and sit down and talk about the numbers, and really sort of hammer out a good deal for all of us.
Fantastic, Jordan. Thanks a lot for your time. I'm going to try and get a cup to try myself. So thank you.
No problem, no problem. Yes, let me know when you're interested, and yeah, we'll book in another meeting so we can sort out the next step.
Excellent. Thanks a lot, Jordan.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye bye. Cool.
Jordan, brilliant. I thought you sold it extremely well. I actually quite fancy trying some, to be honest. out of curiosity. You made it amazing with the earthy texture and taste, but I'm sure if it's $80 a cup, it's got to be quite good stuff actually. If you don't think too much about the where it's
where
come from.
where it's come from. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Yeah, if you start thinking about where it's come from, then you might be sort of screwing your nose up a little bit at it, thinking, "Oh my god, it's not what I want." But no, I think I think there's definitely a market for it because they seem to want to produce it, which is really interesting.
It is. It
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
I always wonder. I wonder how it came about. Like, how did they initiate that kind of first idea of what to do? It wouldn't be on my list of things that I would think of.
I know. I wouldn't sort of go to the cat litter tray and think, oh, might try that in a cup as a cup of coffee. You'd never think that, would you? But who knows? Who knows who invented it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very it's a very unique situation indeed, very unique.
and I think the adjective you used, earthy, is absolutely spot on. What a perfect adjective to describe it, earthy, which is which actually is something that if someone gave you a cup of coffee and you tried it and you didn't like it, you probably would say, to be polite, oh, it's rather earthy, isn't it? Not wanting to say that it tastes disgusting, but
Yes. Yeah,
um,
absolutely. I agree. Yeah, you want to give them an answer, but you don't want to offend them, of course. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that part indeed. So, but yeah, it's interesting. Very, very fascinating coffee that I haven't tried, by the way. So I'm with you on that one. I think maybe I should find some and if I can try it and let you know what it tastes like.
absolutely, you should. Yeah, you've got. Well, it's quite pricey though. It's quite expensive, isn't it? But if you can get some for a bit
Yeah,
cheaper,
yeah.
in the name of the pod, you could feed back to us what it actually tasted like.
There you go. You never know. We could end up with bringing out English to take away coffee. This new brand of coffee that comes from the Philippines.
I mean, you might want to start experimenting with other types of poo, like the goat. You got the goat. We're talking about earthy coffee. You could be onto a potential gold mine here.
And
Your goats on tap.
endless supply.
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
All right.
yeah,
Should
wonderful.
we quickly move on now? Should we move on to the English to take away part?
Absolutely. Yes.
Cool.
Yes. 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 100%. Um, so let me begin because I think I will. I wrote down the first one, and that is the lovely idiom of "until the cows come home." Yes, uh, I love this one because it's such a great idiom to use when you can mean it to do something for as long as possible. And yeah, it essentially meaning it never will end. So yeah, we use this when we want to say something will continue for a very long time. Yeah, it's a nice, really really nice idiom. I haven't heard it for a long time, so it's great to hear.
No, I was going to say as well, it's probably quite old fashioned now as well, isn't it? Till the cows come home. She talks till the cows come home.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I'll be honest, it's quite early morning here in the UK. I'm not sure why I said it. I don't think I've ever said it before in my life, actually. But
It's
it's
a good
quite a
one.
memorable. It's a memorable one, isn't it? It's very good, and you never know. Someone might hear it, they might read it, and then
Yeah,
they'll understand it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Uh,
It's a Another interesting a visual one, like you imagining like the cows coming home, right? Like, yeah, it's a very, yeah, very interesting visual that they would have for it. So cool, very good.
Well, I guess it means, does it, that cows will never come home? They'll always be wandering about.
Possibly, yeah. Or you're it's just never ending. Like there's a lot of, yeah. You put the cows out in the field, and they never they would just stay there, right? They're not going to come back, I suppose. Yeah, perhaps. I really don't know the origin. Yeah, it's
I need to. Your research this week is drinking the cat coffee. My research can be looking up the meaning of that idiom maybe
yeah.
for next week. All
Fantastic.
right. So I had my first one is something that you said that I really liked. You said I jumped onto the computer.
Mm,
So to jump onto, which is a phrasal verb, um,
yep.
quite an informal one. If someone heard you say I jumped onto my computer, they might think, why is Jordan jumping onto his computer? But it actually just means I sort of quickly opened my computer and started doing something. So
Yes.
I really liked it. I think it's very natural English, isn't it, to jump onto your computer?
Yeah, and I think one phrase that I feel that has become really important in the last few years is when people are talking about like Zoom calls. Do you have time to jump on a Zoom call? Right? It's it's part of, I think, email English nowadays. There's a lot of people scheduling um, meetings online, so they use that phrase when they want to ask, "Are you available to meet on Zoom?" Jump on a Zoom call is a great phrase to use.
Perfect. Yeah, very, very, very good. Very useful.
The
All right.
next one that I have is another phrasal verb, but again, this is incredibly informal but useful in terms of when someone goes bust, gone bust. Um, just means that they have run out of money, the company is bankrupt, they are not working, or they're not producing anything anymore, they don't open their shops. So, yeah, gone bust means the company is essentially, yeah, bankrupt. It doesn't have any money, which is a great phrasal verb to use in this sense.
Great. My next one, we were talking about, well, you were talking about the sumo tournament in
Yes.
London, and you were saying that tickets would be very, very hard to buy. So you said the tickets are like gold dust,
Mm,
which is a lovely, well, it's an idiomatic expression, very visual again, as many idioms are. So if tickets are very, very difficult to get to buy, you can describe them as being like gold dust.
yes, absolutely. Yeah, you can't find them. It's very difficult to find them, and if you do, they're probably very expensive as well at the same time.
Exactly.
Yes, very good. This is another word that again I've heard it being used a lot when describing culture, and it's nice for students to understand this word, quintessential. Quintessential is a word that is definitely used when describing something that is very important in a particular culture. So, tea is a very quintessential British um, drink. Um, for example, you might say miso soup is a very quintessential part of Japanese breakfasts cuisine. So we use quintessential when it's an important component to something related to a culture.
It means like the most perfect example of something, doesn't it? And
Yes,
we,
it's
we all,
essential thing, right?
yeah, exactly. We often use it as well as an adverb, don't we? Quintessentially British. You know,
Yes,
tea with milk. Quintessentially British. Yeah, it's a great word to highlight, Jordan. Again, if a student can use that in their IELTS writing, for example, or their their high school writing exam,
yeah,
really raises the level of their English, their range of vocabulary, doesn't it? Great.
absolutely. Yeah, it's a nice one if you're talking about your own country. You can highlight certain aspects that are really important by using that word. Actually,
Yeah, no, great. Well, I've sort of turned into you today because I've got another phrasal verb
ooh,
that I wrote. So I've got to snap something up,
ah,
like like to snap up tickets.
yes,
So I guess it would mean if you snap something up, if something is in demand
mm,
and you buy it, you
yes.
snap it up. So you almost get a you buy something that is in demand that lots of other people want.
Yeah,
Um,
I think also as well, like the speed of it, isn't it as well? Like to do it quickly, you're worried that if you don't buy it now, then when it comes to tomorrow or next week, it won't be available. So yeah, you snap it up because it's a it's something that you want to get. So you get it quickly. Yeah, yeah, it's a good one actually. It's a nice one to use. The next one I think is a great one for environment, and we hear a lot of this connected to environmental topics, is sustainable. So, sustainable is where we're basically trying to understand that something is not going to harm the the earth or harm the environment, usually by not using specific materials such as plastics and things like that. So I think sustainable is a nice word when we're talking about packaging and products, of course.
yeah, great. And the noun, of course, sustainability, another
Mm,
word, right, to go with it if we're word building as well.
absolutely.
Um,
Yeah.
Unbelievably, I've got another phrasal verb for my number four word. So this is a phrasal verb that goes really specifically with a Christmas tree.
Ah.
Um,
Okay. Yeah.
so often students might say, "Oh yeah, I built the Christmas tree," you know, or
Mm,
they'll struggle for the right verb. That means they'll get the Christmas tree from this, and they'll do that, and then they'll add all the decoration. So to put up
mm,
the Christmas tree, so put something up, and we use that specifically with Christmas trees.
yes.
When are you putting up your Christmas tree, for example?
Absolutely. Yeah. Nice. Very, very good indeed. And the next one that I had is kind of related to that. It's not something that we said um, at all in the podcast, but it relates nicely to this particular situation. So you've got to put up your Christmas tree, but when it comes to afterwards, the new year, you then you don't put it down, you take it down. So you need to take down the Christmas tree or take down the decorations. Actually, I think I did mention it when I said that in the Philippines they don't take the decorations down. They keep them up all year. So I think I did
Is
mention it actually. Yes.
absolutely great. Okay, well, the last one. I've got it's a choice between the two, to be honest. Yeah, okay, I'm going to go for the last one. We kind of explained it when we were talking about tea, but I really like it. A cuppa,
Ah,
a cuppa.
yes, yes.
So cup of tea, which we've squashed together, and we've got rid of tea, and we've just left cuppa,
Yeah,
a
a
cuppa,
cuppa.
a
Yeah,
cuppa,
absolutely. And every British person knows what that means.
without a doubt, without a doubt.
Yeah, like nobody will look at you strangely or ask you like what do you mean. Like, everybody knows what a cuppa is. So if you ask a British person, do you and I love the phrase that you put together. Do you fancy a cuppa? Very um, important phrase there. If you ask a British person, do you fancy a cuppa? They will totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and also if you're if you're visiting the UK and someone asks you,
Yeah,
fancy a do you fancy a cuppa? Now you'll understand what it
absolutely.
means. But beware, it will be tea, probably with milk
Milk.
in it.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Fantastic.
Great.
Awesome. Some great great list of words that we got there as always. So once again, some interesting different ones. We got an idiom in there. We got some phrasal verbs. We've got, of course, some very contracted words as well. So yeah, a nice variety that we've got today.
Absolutely. But yeah, huge variety, but lots of phrasal verbs today. It's almost been like the phrasal verb episode. It's been really good.
Indeed, it has.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, cool.
fantastic stuff. Very good indeed. Awesome, good stuff indeed.
All right. Well, if any of you listening have got any ideas for news stories, things that you'd like us to talk about, if you've got any English language questions as well, maybe some of the vocabulary that we've talked about, you need some additional examples, you'd like us to expand more on the idioms, for example, write in and tell us. You can email us English to takeaway pod at gmail.com.
Awesome. Yeah. Look forward to hearing from you, of course. But that's it from episode number 10. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you once again for listening. And thank you very much, Richard, as well. It's been fantastic.
Thank you, Jordan. Same here. Have a great week. See you
Yeah.
next week.
You too. Bye bye.